It's still happy hour with John Gaskins. This round's on me.
Hey, you know what it's time for? It's time to dominate. It's time to dominate with the Dominator. He was number 24, three-time All-American, three-time Summit League Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, his freshman year. He's the 9th all-time leading scorer in NCAA history, the Summit League scoring leader for a career, and plenty of fond memories for Jackrabbit fans. He's Mike Daum after spending, 7 years overseas, 2 years in Spain, 2 years in Italy, 1 year in Istanbul, Turkey, 1 year in Serbia, this past season in Nagano, Japan. He is back in the States after his 7th season of pro basketball just wrapped up, and he's talking to us from Happy Valley, Oregon, to go down memory lane and to catch us up on his life and times. So good to see you. How you doing, man? You're complaining about your bedhead, so let's get that out of the way. But you got an excuse. You got an 11-month-old kid.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I'm not surprised you're awake, because you're always awake when you have an 11-month-old kid.
But man, it's good to see you guys. Wow, thank you for that introduction. That's like a trip down memory lane for myself as well. But I'm happy to be here. Glad we could find a time for me to get on the show. And yeah, I'm also adjusting my lifestyle into being a dad as well.
Yeah, you are living the dad life. How much sleep are you getting with an 11-month-old?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think my son is a rare exception. He can just run fully on about 2 or 3 hours of sleep. So Our sleep for my wife and I has been very, very minimal since he was born. So we're gonna be catching up, I think, on a lifetime of sleep.
Right. The 1 year birthday is coming up. Now, is there going to be a big party for this? Is this an excuse for the adult?
We have. My wife is coordinating it all. We have a fun basketball theme for it, so it's gonna be a big event for him and both of our families.
Both of your families, okay? Because I coincidentally, Dan Patrick was talking about going to a 1-year-old birthday party for a grandchild of his, and he said it was just an excuse for the adults to party.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, good. And how did we end up in suburban Portland, Oregon? It has to do with your wife and her family, so that goes back to how you met your wife.
Yep. Yeah, so my wife and her family is all from this area, and it just made the most sense once we found out we were having a kid to kind of reside in this area for now. We'll see in the future, though, when I retire, if this is where we end up full time. Might end up someplace maybe a little sunnier like Las Vegas, but we'll see.
Okay. Now, you've explained to me before we started rolling, like, you plan on going back to Japan. So you plan on playing at least one more year in the pros. And you said maybe when you retire, we'll see where you end up living in the States. But you must be still liking getting paid to play basketball overseas, or else you don't keep doing it. So, I mean, how's that all going for you?
Yeah. Really, basketball is the best. I definitely love playing it still. I enjoy just being around the game, and one of the coolest things now is being able to just travel the world and see and experience so much while playing this game that I love. But it's been amazing. I can't complain at all. Being able to play basketball for a living is really a blessing. And yeah, Japan, I think right now it's tough between Italy and Japan, but Japan, I think, edges a little bit in front of being probably the most loved country I've played in. It's an absolutely amazing country, culture, everything there.
I have heard that. I have read that. It looks beautiful, but I'd love you to get into that. I mean, we could spend the whole hour just talking about these countries you've lived in, because they're places I at least want to travel someday in my life. I mean, my actual dream job is to be a travel show host, just to get paid to travel to some of these places you've lived. But why Japan? Why is Japan at the top? I mean, again, let's review again. Spain, in the part of northwest Spain, which is near the coast and near Portugal. 2 years in Italy, in Tortona, described as one of the most beautiful villages in Italy. Think about
Yep.
that statement. And you're nodding your head. You agree. You lived in, by the way, in Spain, you lived in wine country there, like the Napa Valley of Spain. Istanbul, Turkey, which is an underrated, amazing city. Belgrade, Serbia, and that country's very underrated in its beauty. But yet, Nagano, Japan, your favorite. And beauty, the land, the culture. Why?
Yeah, so Japan has always kind of been one of those countries that me and my agent have talked about. I eventually always wanted to play in Japan just because I've
Because
had a
they're
couple
so
friends.
short, you can just dominate Japanese. Sorry.
They're actually they are
I-
yes, the height is the difference, but I gotta tell you, those guys are so scrappy
Yeah.
24/7. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had some friends play in Japan and they've had nothing but positive things to say about it. Um but what really, really surprised me and my wife was the culture is so deep rooted in respect.
Yes.
I mean, you go there and everything is clean, everything is spotless. You can walk into a public restroom barefooted and you know your feet are going to be clean. Um, it's just, there's, like you said, I mean, I could just go on for an hour about how amazing the people are, how well they treat foreigners, and just how the whole basketball scene there, the fans are so respectful when they see you on the court, outside in public. It's just one place that is unlike any other place I've experienced so far.
Yeah. Bill Murray recently went there just to watch Shohei Ohtani play in a game
Yeah.
there in Japan, like the first Major League Baseball game of the year. And he mentioned, and he's famous there like he is everywhere. And he shot a really good movie there, Lost in Translation, 20 years ago. And he just said what he liked about it is people, everything you said, the respect, the cleanliness, but the people themselves, he said, they can't be funny and weird, but they love people who are because they can't. Now, I wasn't even planning on tying Michael Orris this early into an interview, but we did talk to him a few months ago during the Summit League tournament. Of course, he's coaching at Augustana, former teammate of yours with the Jacks, hit the famous shot to beat USD in the SLT. And he said, you are one of the top 5 goofiest dudes in the history of the world. He has a knack for the embellishment, the grandiose. But you were quite the prankster as well. But anyway, he said you were, funny, goofy dude. So, do you get that Bill Murray type of treatment in Japan, being you?
Yes, absolutely. No, that has definitely carried over throughout the years, but especially in Japan too. I continue to do just some goofy things that I think my wife sometimes is like, "Are you ever going to grow up? Or you're a dad now. When is the time?" And I'm like, I feel like I'm like 16 years old just forever. But yeah, no, and they do. The fans over there, they really do just feed and love the absolute goofiness and yeah, it's just it's incredible over there how they like treat you, see you, talk to you, and then start to copy the like funny things you do. So
yeah. Okay, so I mean, people know that your backstory, and we'll get into it a little bit, but most people already know and have known for years. Your parents were standout athletes at the University of Wyoming. It's where they met, right? Mitch was a tight end. He eventually played briefly for the Oilers. Your mom, Michelle, graduated as the all-time leading scorer and rebounder in Wyoming history. And Mitch was 6'5". How tall is Michelle?
Yeah, my mom is 6'1".
And you're 6'9", so we know your height, your athleticism, your basketball skills come from your parents. But where does the goofiness come from?
I would say it's a pretty good mixture of both. I mean, my mom's goofy in certain ways, my dad's goofy in certain ways, and I feel like I just got like a perfect 50-50 of both of their goofiness.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I mean, it's just like goofiness in random ways. Like my mom's kind of, off the top of the spot, like she's goofy here. Then my dad will get into like the arcade and he kind of does these imitations and that kind of thing. So I feel like I got like a good mix of both.
Okay. And then before I forget, a couple of house cleaning measures before we kind of get into the life story sort of thing. But how did you meet your wife?
Yeah, I slid into her DMs on Instagram when I was in college.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
it was like a little quick backstory. It was like I think it was my junior season. Um, just slid into her DMs. I was like, "All right, you got to help me out." And it was just a very open-ended statement, and she responded like, "Help you out with what?" Like, and I was like, "Well, I got to figure out how to get you to South Dakota to take you on a date." And that just kind of opened the doors, and then we kind of stayed in touch. And then once I graduated college, I was like, "All right, like let's FaceTime." And then we FaceTime for 4 hours, and the rest was history.
Well, where was she living?
So she was when I graduated college, she played professional volleyball overseas, and she was in Germany at the time. And then when she got back to the States in the summertime, I was doing all the like pre-draft workout stuff for the NBA, and then that's when I just said let's FaceTime, and we hit it off.
So how did you find her?
It was my Instagram Explorer page,
Okay,
just meant to be.
okay. Not- Nothing creepy about that. You just saw a girl you thought was kind of hot and was a volleyball player, and uh,
Yeah,
so how'd that go? I mean, you said
yeah.
she's like what? Obviously, it went fine. She's your wife now, but I mean, like, how did that? And that's an incredible story itself.
It
How you got
it
from
really
A to
is.
B.
Yeah, I mean, so when we FaceTime, the first time, by the end of it, I said, "Hey, like you should fly out. Like come hang out with me, like come meet my family." And I remember she told me the very first time she was like saying to her friends and family like, "Oh, this guy FaceTime me and he wants to fly me out to hang out with him." And all of her friends and family thought that I was going to be like a serial killer or something. So, but no, like, yeah, it was just like kind of one of those things where we got on the phone and the conversation just flowed really, really easy and everything clicked. And then, yeah, it worked out because she was playing volleyball overseas as well. So we were both over in Europe at the same time. So
Okay.
it was a little easier to be able to commute back and forth to see each other. And yeah, so now she stays with me now. I can't say she retired because she could still go back and play if she wanted to.
Okay.
But she's full-time mom right now, and it's been amazing to have her and my son overseas with me most of the time.
Where did she go to college and play?
So she went to the University of Oregon.
Okay.
She's
Excellent.
like big time, like big time volleyball. She was a stud athlete. So I'm hoping that our son gets all of her athleticism. And the only thing he needs from me is just the shooting touch.
That's right. What's her name? I got to Google this now.
Yeah, her name is Taylor August, Agost.
Agost. Okay. Well, I got Agostino. That comes up real quick. I don't want to waste our time here, but okay. Well done. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the Oregon. Yep, there's the Oregon jersey. Some Oregon volleyball shots there. And so where did you first physically see her after all this DMing?
So she came to meet me when I was down at my like parents' vacation house in South Padre Island, Texas. Is the
Okay.
very first time I saw her. And yeah, she came down for 4 or 5 days. We hung out, and she pretty much it's funny because she also got to meet like my mom and my dad right
That
away.
yeah, that's a little.
So
You don't
it
usually
was
meet mom and
just
dad that early.
Yes, it was just kind of right off the running block. She was just hit the ground running, and she just got to meet everyone and get the full like Daum experience.
But yeah, but and she leaned into it, not away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
it.
I mean, it didn't scare her away. I think
Yeah,
now she's starting to realize like, this guy's kind of crazy. I don't really know about it, but like, I'm too deep into it now.
yeah. But okay, but still, let's go backward. Like how much besides like Happy Valley now? How much have you guys ever lived together in these? Because you've known each other for like 7 years, right at the beginning of your pro career,
Yes.
right? And you've
Yep.
lived all over. She's lived overseas. Like, yeah. So how much time have you actually been able to spend
Yeah,
together?
so it's been very sporadic. Our first three years, we would see each other for like the 2 months in the summertime, and then it would be like 2 or 3 trips throughout the year where either she would come to where I was at or I would fly to where she was at. So the first 3 to 4 years, it was very like we were seeing each other 2 months plus a couple of weeks. throughout our relationship. So it was a lot of just like FaceTiming, playing I got her to play video games with me because I was on video games 24/7.
Shocker.
But I'm trying to think, the past like 2.5 seasons has really been like our time to like really live together. So she's been overseas with me for like 4 or 5 months, and then in the summer times here we have a place together now, so we have a little bit more time to spend with each other. But we've never spent one full year together in our entire relationship so far, which is insane.
Now, I would say well, I think most people would say that is kind of insane. I mean, I've done the long distance thing for like 4 years before, so
Yeah.
and I would say normally, wow, what dedication. But when you're both pro athletes, like, and when did she retire, or when did she stop?
So she stopped playing 3 years ago, I want to say.
Okay, and so she's just kind of joining you now, or
Yep.
yeah,
So she pretty much, yeah. So she loves the United States. She loves traveling overseas, but she definitely loves like being in the United States near her family the most. And especially now with our son, it's the easiest for her to have help here in the States, because once she comes overseas, I'm gone, for practice 5-6 hours a day, and once we leave for games, she's really by herself. So yeah, she'll come over. I think this past season she came over with me for 5 months, which is the longest
wow.
that she's come over during a season with me, which was awesome. But yeah, most of the time she'll come over for a couple months and go back to the States a couple months and kind of do that throughout the season.
All right, because I just would figure, you talk about the 5 or 6 hours a day training and working, and your seasons are several months long, I'm sure, just like they are here, and so it might be a good thing that not something you want to make a lifelong routine, but that
For sure.
you're in such a I say serious business, the serious business of basketball, but it's very high stakes, and so maybe that can make a long distance relationship work when you're that knee deep and grounded in what you do. So that's awesome that you have made it work. And I just I think about the whole scope of the fact that you're born and raised in Kimball, Nebraska, out on the Nebraska Panhandle, middle of nowhere, the highest point in Nebraska, right?
Oh yeah.
You're very proud of that panoramic point. Other than that, you're out there in the middle of nowhere on the plains, and then you end up going to school in Brookings, South Dakota, on the plains, the middle of nowhere. And Kimball, by the way, for those who don't know, population 2,000. So think Lennox. I don't know. Think something like that. You did have a Pizza Hut, Dairy Queen, and Subways. That's a lot for a town that size.
Oh yeah, one stoplight and those 3 restaurants.
But from a guy with the first 22, 23 years of your life in Kimball and Brookings, it has to be mind-blowing where you've been ever since.
Yeah. I feel like, I think I've said this many times in interviews before, but I feel like it'll really hit me once I retire from basketball and I can kind of just take some time to reflect. But I sit here and I think about it and I'm kind of at a loss for words, because it really is a crazy journey that I've been on, coming from where I did. And I mean, man, the people that I've met along the way, the connections I've made along the way, it's been a blessing to do what I've been able to do. But yeah, it's definitely like a crazy story, and it's something I'll never forget about where I've come from to where I am now. It's incredible.
And it sounds like you've embraced most of it. Everybody's story and journey is different, and every place you live is going to be different. I mean, another guy we'll bring up a little bit later in the memory lane basketball realm, Matt Mooney, from USD. I had a chance to talk with him about a year ago, and he's lived in some interesting places. But there were a lot of things he said about the just being an international basketball player from the United States that are very challenging with language barriers, and it's kind of all over the map how well teams take care of you and all that stuff. But for you so far, and I don't think you're blowing smoke here, it sounds like you've really just enjoyed the heck out of it.
I have. I feel like that's the one thing that I've kind of done a really good job, is just embracing everything. Coming out of college, I was pretty hard on myself for not making it to the NBA. That was kind of that thing stung for a little bit for the first couple of years for me. But after that, I really was just like, I'm thankful to just be able to play this sport for a living. And I have to credit like my agent a lot because he's put me in really good situations overseas. I've been in amazing spots. I've been in places where for me it's been easy to adapt. And now I feel like, you can throw me anywhere and it's not going to be a problem. I'm not worried about the language. I'm not worried about living situation, things like that, because I've seen it all now. But yeah, I've just been able to embrace everything. I always say like I have a tattoo. It just says be present. And it just, for me, it helps me realize, just be where my feet stand right now and enjoy what I'm doing and embrace everything that's going on around me. And that's definitely helped me in my journey to just enjoy it all.
Well, I mean, you kind of had to do it right off the bat. I mean, correct me if I'm
Yep.
wrong. I think you had one season under your belt in Spain, your first stop when COVID hit. I think that's the last time I heard your voice.
Yeah.
I was still on the radio every day here in Sioux Falls, and all we did was talk about COVID. And okay, well, how can we just need to get different perspectives from the sports world? And so we dialed you up in Spain.
Yep.
And, for all of us, life has gotten a lot better since then. But you were shaking your head when I brought that up. I mean, what was life like in Spain during COVID as a 24-year-old newly minted pro basketball player over there?
Yeah, it was that was a crazy, crazy time. You go from playing in these amazing arenas, amazing fans, being able to go out restaurants, whatever, to they literally were so strict in Spain that if you were outside of maybe walking your dog, they would slap you with like a $2,500 fine.
Whew.
So it was like I was really isolated in my apartment for, at the start of the season, yeah, it was, I don't know, 4 or 5 months straight of just pure isolation. And it's like they were bringing groceries, they were bringing anything you needed, you would text them, but that's where it got difficult is they would always screw something up. I remember I remember I think I ended up losing almost 20 pounds during that time just because I wasn't getting enough. They weren't bringing enough food for me. And it was just the toughest thing ever because they were all constantly telling us, "Oh, season's going to start up again. Season's going to start up again." And we had a couple other Americans on the team who, the moment they said COVID, they flew home right away. But I kind of was like, well, I'm going to stick it out because I want to keep making money, and obviously, if I have a chance to play basketball, I want to play. But yeah, that was just it doesn't seem like a real time of life anymore. It doesn't seem like it actually happened, or it seems like so long ago now.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
A lot of life has happened for everybody, including both
Yeah.
you and me. Forgive me. Did you get to at least get to go on jogs or go to the gym and shoot? Like you could do that, couldn't you?
No, it
Oh
was
my
we were
God.
not allowed. So I I
Oh, you were
literally
like in jail at home.
oh yeah, no, it was. And I remember they brought us a bike. I had a bike at home. I had some free weights, and then I would run my stairs of the apartment building every day. I literally remember it like it was yesterday. I did 100 rounds up. I think 4 flights of stairs. Up and down was one. And I remember just doing that every day. And that was the only way that I kind of stayed in shape throughout that entire process, which was insane.
That is insane. I could talk to you for a whole hour just about living overseas, the basketball overseas. How does it work? Illuminate us on, you obviously you find an agent, you don't get the NBA shot you wanted. Okay, I want to play and I want to play overseas. Well, first of all, I mean, was NBA G League an option? And if so, why did you still choose overseas over that?
Yeah, the G League was never really an option. And I was just pretty much based all solely on like my agent's guidance. He wasn't a big fan of the G League, didn't think that, a lot of like legit opportunities come from the G League. And I think it's gotten better now, but especially at the time when I was there or when I first came out, he just said that it wasn't well run enough for me to like he thought that I had a better chance of going overseas and then coming back. And I trusted him with all of that. So yeah, I mean, I get the agent and then he pretty much, goes and just talks to all these teams, see what teams need what, and then he gives me the options and then I kind of just get to pick and choose where I want to be and what I think is going to be best for continuing to also level up in my career.
Okay. And that was Spain to start. And that was 2 years. And then it was Italy. Like, how does that work? Where you go, okay, we're going from this country and in this league to this country in this league, what
Yeah.
goes into that?
Yeah, so my first opportunity in Spain was like a good one for me because I actually had one of my friends who was with the same agency just played at this team I was going to, so I was able to talk to him about his experience um, and things like that. So I knew that the ACB is what it's called, the league in Spain is the best like local like country league in all of Europe. Its basketball is very very high level. There's a ton of young guys that are coming out of there and going to the NBA and a ton of former NBA guys that are coming and going into playing the ACB as well. So it was a level that I knew that I was going to get to play against some top level competition. Um and pretty much from there, it's just you play well, your pay increases, and then kind of once I got this opportunity to go to Italy, it was just another. I'm not gonna lie, like the money is good, so it's like I'm also gonna follow where the money's at.
Sure.
And they were offering me a good contract, and that's kind of the reason to go from Italy. Like Spain to Italy was not necessarily a basketball jump; it was more of like a business decision
Sure.
to go there.
Well, how much of it was a business decision to not do the G League and do overseas instead? I mean, how much more
Yeah,
money are we
that
talking
was
about?
also a very, very big
Yeah.
business decision at the time, especially the G League contracts were so low, and even
Yeah.
two-way contracts were super low too.
What were they?
So,
What was like a G League contract?
man, I think when I first came out, the minimums for G League contract was 20K, 30K is all. So it's like I'm like,
That's like radio and TV money, dude.
yeah, and
That's what I was making.
yeah, and
That's not good.
yeah, and it's tough because you also have to think, okay, maybe I get a 10-day contract here and that's another 20-30K on top of it, or maybe you get a call up or something, but it's rare, difficult, and I'm like I don't regret my decision to go overseas right away because it is once you get into a certain market, you really do you can get on a higher pay grade very fast.
Okay. And obviously, hey, it's paying the bills for 7 years. I don't want to be too
Yep.
nosy, but if you want to give us a ballpark, like what kind of money can you make just being obviously a very serviceable player in Spain, Italy, and
So I'll say so the local league I was playing in, it's kind of tricky to explain because everyone always thinks so like, oh, you're playing in Europe, you're just in the Euro League, but the Euro League is its own separate league. And where I was playing in Spain for 2 years, we played no Europe competition, so we only played other teams in Spain. My first year in Italy, same thing. We only played other teams in Italy, but then once you start to get into these like duo leagues where you played local league, but we played Champions League my first year in Italy. So you play other teams from Turkey, Spain, Italy, these other teams around. So, and then once you hit the Euro League pay grade, I'll say that you're like pretty much going to be getting over like half a mil. So it's a big jump. And once you kind of get that, um, it's kind of the same thing in the NBA. Once you're in the NBA, you have that NBA stamp, and you can come over to Europe, and you're almost guaranteed like $1 million if you have the NBA stamp. And then when you get the EuroLeague stamp, you can kind of carry that into other leagues too, and you know that a team is going to pay you because they know what they're getting out of you as a player.
okay.
So yeah, I've been very fortunate.
That'll keep you going. I mean, how old are you now?
Yeah, 30 years.
30.
I can't believe it. I still, like I said, I still feel like I'm 16. So
Yes, and how's your health been? I mean, physically, you still able to play? You're still competing and playing at a high
I'm
level?
still competing and playing. I'm not gonna lie, I have a bum knee that's slowly starting to decline a little bit. I'm starting to feel it in my day-to-day activities, sitting down, standing up, things like that. But I'm hoping to. I always told my wife, I said, I want to play basketball until the wheels fall off. So that is kind of what I'm doing right now, and we'll see how many years I have left to push this knee to the limit.
Yeah, well, like Brett Favre, his limbs almost splattering all over the ice rink at the Gophers Stadium.
Yeah.
concussed in his, like, that's how he was going to go out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've thought, like, what would you do? What will you do once you're not playing? You don't want to think about it.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I've gone down so many different avenues of, all right, I wanna start a business. I wanna get into coaching because I feel like I still have so many good connections there. But the only thing about coaching is I think it's more of a full-time job than actually playing basketball. So I don't necessarily know about that. So that's why I'm kind of like, I want to start a business because I want to see my son grow up. I want to be with him and my wife the whole time. But yeah, if you want me to be honest, I have some just random ideas, but I have never sat down and really thought about it. I'm just like basketball 24/7, and I get freaked out a little bit thinking about outside of what I'm going to do when it's done.
I mean, have you ever thought of open mic stand-up comedy?
Okay. Yes, I have. And I also have thought of traveling to Hollywood and possibly trying to, I don't know, I don't know if I could get into some comedy movies, but I feel like, maybe they might see me, 6'9", 6'10" as a horror character, and maybe I get in as like Slender Man in some movies, and I can, maybe break my way into the film industry.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna, I was writing this down as I started talking to you. Forgive me if this seems way, like, you have this Pete Davidson look and vibe. Has anyone ever told you that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
My wife and I'm trying to think there's been so many people that literally are like, yeah, he's Pete Davidson. He's got the same energy, something about it. Yes. Yes.
Well, that's good.
So funny.
You can try the Hollywood thing because you have a few nickels in your pocket. You can afford to live and not get a job for a while.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be as risky for you. So I'd love to see where that goes, but I'm happy you still want to play ball.
For sure.
So have you ever tried an open mic night anywhere, anytime?
No, never have.
Okay.
Never have. I feel like it is funny though. I'm not going to lie, but there's been like some random times where I'm like, all right, like if I was going to just stand up and do some like stand up comedy or do something like, what would I open it with or how would I start? And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'd have to just start with the basic, like, hey, yeah, I'm 6'9". The weather up here is just fine. It's the same as you guys down there. And then, I don't know. I feel like I just would go into a bunch of stories about my dad on the farm and the funny things that I've experienced. And then, I don't know. I feel like my best is when I kind of interact with people and then I can do things off the top of my head.
Okay. The Matt Rife thing.
Yeah.
The crowd play. Yeah. The disarming with your physical traits. That's a good old line. It's like, I don't know if you ever remember or have heard of Louis Anderson. He was from Minnesota, but he was, Google him sometime. He hosted Family Feud. He was a big stand-up in the 80s and 90s, been in a bunch of movies. But he was really overweight. And so his first move, the first time he was on national TV, which kind of made his career on the Tonight Show, he took the mic stand in front of him and he said, the first thing he said was, "Oh, let me get this out of the way so you can all see me better." There you go.
That's great.
Great. I think you've got a good start, and that's where you can go from there. Now you're going to have to give me some royalties if that ever works for you.
Okay.
Yeah.